Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, I had a little surgery this morning, but there are so many things to talk about and things that happen in this world that I can't stay away from this. So I made a video earlier about half an hour ago and I'm making this one for tonight. And we have two topics here. The first one is the dynamics, which is when the Russians destroy, let's say, a Patriot system, let's say today, or they claim they destroy one, then you have the Ukrainians claiming they destroyed an S-400, a defense system from Russia. When the Russians claim they destroy a F-16, immediately and within 48 hours, the Ukraine posts something destroying a Sukhoi something or a MiG. When the Russians destroy an Abrams tank, these guys come, oh, we destroy a, I don't know, Russian tank, 90, whatever. Okay, T-90 or something like that. So the same is the case here. If you remember, a few days ago, I think on the 3rd, I made this video, and right here, this video, and it was a Sukhoi 35 and a F-16. And it was based on the statement of Mr. Yuri Ignat, a colonel in the Ukraine army, who said that F-16s and the Mirage French fighter jets are now no match for the Sukhoi 35. And I used a few articles on the description below. You can find them in this video. So remember, this was Ignat a few days ago. To be more precise, was on the 3rd of June 2025. And guess what happened now? Today on June 9th, this is the, from New Voice of Ukraine, this is the title. So now we have an F-16 down in an exactly Sukhoi 35. Why? Because they can't let it go. There's companies who need to sell their shares. So they claim that an F-16 shot down a Russian 35, which is the exact thing in this video. Sukhoi 35 and a F-16. F-16 was designed in late 1960s. Its first flight was in 1974. That is an ancient plane where you can do some updates, upgrades, still ancient plane. Sukhoi was built in 90s and I think it got flying 2000 some. Anyway, so for me it's just coincidental that, look, the F-16 downed a Sukhoi 35. We haven't heard a Sukhoi 35 downing an F-16 yet. We heard, according to the Ukrainians as well, that maybe it was an S-400 who downed it. One of the 3 F-16s down in Ukraine that we are allowed to know of at this moment. So let's see what these guys are saying. This is the first topic. The other topic is NATO jets scrambled 3 times to intercept Russian aircraft over Baltic Sea. So someone scrambles to create a situation under which they can claim, hey, we were attacked, we will retaliate. Because, you know, we always under attack by some people, even though we're the bully boys. So let's start with reading the first article. For the first time in history, is it true? They say so. A US-made F-16 aircraft downed a Sukhoi 35 fighter jet during a Ukrainian operation near the Russian border on June 7. German outlet Bild reported. Don't get fooled by the Germans. They all lie, right? The Russians lie, the Ukraine lie, the American lies, especially the Germans now because they want to sell and send their Taurus missiles over there. According to the report, Ukrainian forces was using an F-16, American-made, mind you, to strike Russian targets on Ukraine territory in Kursk Oblast. I actually covered this, and I provided a video. And that video showed a burning something. You could tell it's a plane, but you don't know what plane it is. And now they link the same picture. I'm going to show you. They want to link the same picture. Where is it, baby doll? It's it's somewhere here where I played a video where it's just a down airplane. Let me see. I find it here. few days ago. Anyway, it was this video with this down plane that these guys are using as the picture in this one. It was a video, and I said, you believe what that is? It's a plane. I don't know where, I don't know who, I don't know what kind of plane, I don't know the location, and I definitely am skeptical of the whatever these guys report. So the Russian pilot did not realize he was flying into a trap. It's a trap, remember Star Wars? Jeez, man. Anyway, in addition to F-16s armed with guided bombs and missiles, Ukraine deployed a Swedish Saab. Send more of those aircraft during the operation. Fantastic. So they destroyed it. Remember, the idea was why the Su-35s are better is because they can shoot further, and because they have a what do you call it, range with their radars. So they're capable of identifying a target, incoming target, and avoid it or hitting from further. But now we find out that no, actually we have the same thing all of a sudden. That was done again by the Ukrainians. So it says the AEW and C aircraft tracked the approaching Russian fighter about 200 to 300 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. As the jet closed in, the Swedish Saab relayed target coordination to the F-16 using that information. The Ukrainian fighter fired an AIM-120 missile, which can hit targets up to 50 kilometers away. The Sukhoi crashed roughly 16 kilometers from Ukraine's border. So what they say is, F-16 sucks, but we have the Swedish Saab, and we have the intelligence airplane figuring out there's a target over there, and then we got the Saab, who is not a target. Identify the Russians, send the coordinates to the F-16, and the F-16 shot down the Sukhoi, and the Sukhoi was taking a shit, basically. He didn't know what it was doing over there. He didn't realize that, hey, an incoming missile is coming. Please, my friends, this is for kindergarten, but if you believe that, that's fine with me. I'm just reporting here. Let's go to the next topic, which is NATO jets scrambled 3 times to intercept Russian aircraft over Baltic Sea. I have to remind you that the Baltic Sea, if it's not about 15 kilometers from your shores, it's international waters and international airspace. So you can scramble how many you want. That's harassment. If I'm in international waters and I'm having aircraft over there, and you send a fighter jet over there, that is a provocation. I reserve the right to strike you down if I feel threatened. And I guarantee you that, mark my words, this will happen. At one point, you're gonna have a itchy finger on one of these sides, or an order to shoot at or shoot and destroy. And when that happens, then what? And I suspect it's gonna be the Baltic states hitting the Russian plane, the Poles at the order of the Americans, and then the Russians will do what? There's gonna be again the lie. You've been in my airspace. No, I've been in international waters. Unfortunately, these guys are the little provocateurs, the little hyenas. But hey, let's see what these guys are saying. Maybe the Russians crossed into Estonia's airspace again to save that vessel from the shadow fleet. Fighter jets conducting NATO air policing mission in the Baltic states scrambled 3 times last week to identify and escort Russian aircraft violating flight regulations. Now, if you want to verify this information, how would you do it? You can't. These are statements made by the military and to the media, and media took it. So if the military says, yesterday, I know, the Russians fired 5 missiles at us, and they write it down, how can you verify that? You tell me. The Russians will say no. These guys will gonna say yes. And since the Russians are always lying, we must be true, right? Don't fall for that. And they were violating flight regulations. And the enforcers were some countries. Okay. The ministry reported that NATO air policing jets were scrambled on June 3 to identify 2 Sukhoi 30 SM aircraft. The same day, NATO jets also took off to identify a Sukhoi 33 fighter jet and a Sukhoi 24 MR, that's a bomber. Reconnaissance aircraft flying in international Sukhoi 24, international airspace from mainland Russia. So they were flying from international space. On June 4th, NATO fighters were again scrambled to identify two Sukhoi-30 SM jet flying in international airspace from and later returning to Russia's Kaliningrad Oblast. All of the mentioned Russian aircraft were flying without flight plans and without radio contact with the regional area center. You mofos, you blew up our Nord Stream pipeline. You harass our vessels. Do you want me to give you coordinates? What are you gonna do? You're gonna shoot at us? So it's provocation, and it's always in the Baltics or in the Black Sea. In the Black Sea, the Russians showed even the breeze to back the fuck off, and the Americans with a drone. Remember the Q-9 drone, the Reaper, hit it. Never happened again. The Brits sent their frigate or a destroyer towards Crimean Peninsula, and the Russians used live ammunition to tell them, "Come over, we're gonna F you up." And what did the Brits do? Turn around. Now imagine if a Russian vessel would do the same thing to us here or to the Brits. We'll say, man, that's an attack, that's a provocation, as it should be characterized as. Alright, my friends, remember, F-16s are better. Now, why? Because a few days ago, Mr. Ihnat sent something stupid, I guess. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.